we rolling, Lil?
Rolling.
Right, I want you to tune in, people. I've got a story for you, a crazy fucking story. To begin the story, I have to read you an article that was written in the Independent on February the 15th, 2009. Okay. A similar article on the same subject was written in the Times as well. The headline is, Justice Ministry to bar parents from telling their own stories. The Websters made headlines, but, says Matthew Bell, such exposure will soon be impossible. Last Wednesday, Mark and Nikki Webster were told they will never see three of their children again, even though a judge accepted that allegations of abuse could be false. Their story was the lead item on the following day's BBC News and appeared in several newspapers with pictures of the couple and quotes of them saying they felt they had been the victims of a miscarriage of justice. But as of April, because of a change in legislation being introduced by Jack Straw, the Justice Secretary, the media will no longer be able to identify those involved in cases such as the Websters. It will also be illegal for any children currently in care to speak out, even if they feel they are being maltreated. That is the very important part of this article. Then we go on. The change, unremarked by the press, comes with an overhaul of the law on the reporting of family courts that has otherwise been widely welcomed by the media. Currently, there is a blanket ban on journalists entering family courts, but in December, Straw announced a change to the law that will allow journalists to attend family court hearings. A really important veil is being lifted on what happens in these courts, he said. The change was greeted warmly, particularly by the Times, whose columnist Camilla Cavendish had led the campaign to open up the family courts, for which she won the Paul Foot Award. But what the Times omitted to mention was a line slipped in at the end of Straw's statement, stating his intention to reverse the decision in a case known as Clayton versus Clayton. Simon Clayton is an intense 47-year-old bookseller from Hay-on-Wye. In 2003, he astonished locals in the Welsh border town by abducting his 7-year-old daughter, days ahead of a divorce hearing. Fearing he would lose custody to his wife, he was tracked down to Portugal and brought home under arrest, after which he fought a lengthy custody battle. When his case was concluded, Clayton found he was legally barred from offering a public explanation for what he had done. He fought the existing legislation, and in 2006 the Court of Appeal reached a landmark ruling that a parent should be allowed to identify himself and his child and tell his story. It was decided that a parent's right to freedom of expression was greater than a child's right to privacy. It is because of that Clayton versus Clayton ruling that the Websters were able to speak of their distress on Thursday. Reversing it will mean that any child or adult who has been in a family court case cannot identify themselves in public. Says Clayton, the implication of this for papers is bad. Editors are only interested in the story if it has a human dimension, if you can see the people or read about them by name. Liberal Democrat MP John Hemmings agrees. There are two issues here. One is that the press will be prevented from reporting cases like the Websters with their names and faces. The other is that, at the moment, children who are in care are entitled to speak out if they are unhappy, although it doesn't happen very often because nobody knows how to do it. The effect of this change will be to gag them. Since Clayton versus Clayton, there have been no complaints of invasion of privacy. Fran Lyon, Angela Canning, Bob Geldof, Jack Frost. There are more than a dozen people who have benefited from being able to go public with their story. Says Clayton, there are thousands of people like the Websters out there who, once their cases are over, will want to log onto a forum and discuss what happened to them and get support. As of April, it will be illegal to identify yourself in any way that could lead to the identification of the child. There are occasions when the children may wish to make a public statement. Clayton is incensed that Straw is claiming to be opening up the family courts while reversing the Court of Appeal's ruling, and says he has yet to receive an explanation or any reply from Straw's office. A Ministry of Justice spokesman said, the Secretary of State has made it clear that any moves towards openness in the family courts must be balanced with the welfare, privacy and well-being of children. She added that the decision to reverse Clayton had been made following a consultation with a variety of bodies. For better or for worse, the balance has been tipped against openness. Some say the child must come first. End of discussion. Others see a sinister attempt to gag those who say the system doesn't work. Cavendish takes a less conspiratorial view, but is nonetheless perplexed about the reversal of Clayton. It won't cancel out the new legislation, but it will make it increasingly difficult to report these cases. She said, I'm afraid I don't know why it is happening. Now, I just want to read out one very important line. It will also be illegal for any children currently in care to speak out, even if they feel they are being maltreated. Right, now, Jack Straw made that possible. This is his doing. This is Jack Straw's doing, stopping children speaking out if they are in care, any care, even if they are being maltreated. That is what Jack Straw has done. Now this is where the story gets a little bit crazy. Just over 2 weeks ago, the Sun got a black cab driver and put him in their red cab, which had the Sun imprinted all over it. Now, is this cab driver's job as being like one of the working classes and just a normal working guy to ask a number of politicians certain questions about the economy, about social politics, etc., while they were in the back of his cab. The Sun reported on it every day and then put the films up on their website as video clips. Now, this guy, this cab driver, he had the likes of William Hague, etc., Pickles, they were in his cab and he questioned them all. And then he got Jack Straw in the back of his cab. Now what these Jack Straw didn't realise is that this black cab driver is a friend of mine, a personal friend of mine. And he's also an actor. And I trained him as an actor. So as a black cab driver, this job's come to him via the Sun. Now, this guy pulled a question from our website that infuriated him and decided to ask Jack that question. Now, we have obtained the recording, the audio recording, but not the video recording. Now I'm going to play you that video recording of Jack Straw and what my mate asked him.
I've got to ask you another question, Jack. Funny enough, yesterday I was in the cab. I picked up a film.
Was this a proper one?
A proper cab, yeah. I was in my cab working, and I had a guy in the cab, and he's a very independent. Bill Maloney's name. He makes little independent films and stuff. And I didn't realise he's working on one now about child abuse, and I didn't realise, he said to me to say to you,
right,
why in 2009 you made it illegal or for any children in care to speak out about being ill-treated. Did you do that, Jack?
No.
He said that was something to do with you, and I said, I've got you. He said, oh, Jack Straw, he made it illegal.
I grant this.
Children in care to speak out. I said, well, I'll ask him that tomorrow.
One gets involved in so much that occasionally you have memory lapse, but I think I remember that. I don't remember. I mean, it's not. I mean, amongst other things, it's not my area of responsibility. I mean, actually, I don't know where it's coming from, because one of the things I've been doing is to try and open up the family courts where a lot of these issues get argued about, and so that people, the press would not be able to report the names of the kids or therefore their parents, but they would be able to say, well, this is a really odd decision. And I've had, frankly, a very big fight with some of the people in the family courts and the children's organisations who want family justice, so-called, to remain a secret garden. So I can say to him that I don't know what he's talking about, but if he cares to send me an email, I'll try.
You ask it.
Yeah.
Jack, I know you're a big Blackburn fan.
Thank you.
The Independent and the Times tell us Jack Straw was responsible for this. But as you just heard, Jack has had a lapse of memory because of all the different things he's involved in. He has had a lapse of memory. He has made it possible now that children cannot say, I'm being abused, I'm doing this, and put it into the public arena. And he's just told a London cabbie, a mate of mine, that you have all just listened to, I can't remember. No, I don't think I did do that. I think I would have remembered that. I don't know. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. Well, Jack, you may not know what I'm talking about, but the fucking Independent knows what I'm talking about, and the Times knows what I'm talking about, and the victims of this country and their siblings and their parents and their families know what I'm talking about, Jack. But you don't know what I'm talking about, Jack. Now, the story gets even stranger. 2 days after my friend asked Jack Straw that question, giving my name, a victim from Medhamsley who appears in the story of Adam Rickwood and the Medhamsley Heroes, where we are investigating abuse by a one Neville husband, received a letter from his MP, Stephen Byers, via Jack Straw. I'm getting fed up to the fucking back teeth of listening to this sloshy little prick. That's what you are, Straw. Now we've just discovered that there's a possibility that your brother was not only on the sex offenders register while you were given the job of overhauling it, but he was also done for assaulting another young girl. And your son was a cocaine dealer. You are locking our children up and stealing children in these secret families' courts, Mr. Straw, and it is all coming on top for you. That is it. And people, I don't know what else to say to you all. When we've got one of the most powerful politicians in this country acting like this, now, you blatantly lied to that cab driver. You can't remember, Your son, your sex offender brother, William, and you for lying. You have all done far worse crimes, committed far worse crimes in your actions than the majority of our young offenders and our children in the institutions. And so, a lot of our children in these institutions have never been charged with anything because they're not all young offenders. I'm pointing the finger at you, Mr. Jack Straw.